Hey everybody, thanks for checking out another video. So in this video I want to talk about the dark side of ChatGPT. Now what does that mean? It can mean a lot of different things. Mostly it's not so scary as I'm making it out to be, but well, I mean maybe it is. I guess all this AI stuff in general can be a bit scary when you start thinking GPT-4, GPT-5, what's it going to look like? But at least for now, it's not so scary. It's more that it's like inaccurate, biased, that kind of stuff. And I just want to kind of get into some details about it and show you the information that I've been seeing. So let's just jump right into it. So this is Chat GPT. It's a large language model. It'll tell you that every time. But the parts where I wanted to kind of get into the dark side, one tweet that I noticed recently from Sam Altman, he's kind of one of the head honchos there at ChatGPT OpenAI, and he was saying here, ChatGPT incredibly limited, but good enough at some things to create a misleading impression of greatness. It's a mistake to be relying on it for anything important right now. It's a preview of progress. We have lots of work to do in robustness and truthfulness. I'd say that's probably true. I mean, he's being a bit harsh on it, reasonably so. But I think the glimmer is what people are mostly happy about. At least I am. It's like there's definitely something here where I go, okay, I'm gonna watch this. GPT-4 is gonna be like assuming that more data just keeps doing this like upward trajectory kind of thing. This is going somewhere. But in some of my videos, I might have kind of given the impression that like we're already there, and I think this tweet right here kind of shows that we're not there. Another good example here is with Stack Overflow. This is kind of their policy right now, their GPT policy. Why posting GPT and Chat GPT generated answers is not currently acceptable. Basically, they go into it. It's just a matter of accuracy. And on my note of that, I've noticed some inaccurate code. There's the fact that the code it suggests, it's not like it ran this code. I mean, it's created it however it's created it. It's good code. Typically, it does run often, but they haven't necessarily ran it themselves. So that's like one of the issues with it. And just it's in general inaccurate. I've noticed that like sometimes it'll put lines that are just not needed. And we can kind of get into it a little bit there with the code, but I mean, it's just kind of clear from Stack Overflow here that that's how they feel about it. And this is kind of an interesting little thread I found where people just have kind of gathered a bunch of different reasons where it lacks, and it's like promotion criteria, or like this is specifically saying, well, what is it that gets someone promoted? Basically, it's talking about bias here, reasoning issues, that kind of thing. And I wanted to kind of get into some examples. Like there are some examples here, but the fun thing about these videos and about talking about ChatGPT itself is just like anybody can go talk to it. I mean, that has access and everything and has a setup. So that's where I kind of wanted to get into some of that. And I mean, right at the start, we can kind of open it and see right here, it talks about limitations that it has. So it's like may occasionally generate incorrect information. Yeah. May occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. Fair enough. I mean, it's based on the data. That's like kind of one of the issues with these models in general is that there's the biased data that kind of is inherent. So until we have like one source of truth or we all agree on something, it's going to be a little tricky with the data to say, here is the source of truth, because it's like, says who kind of thing. And then it's also got limited knowledge of the world events after 2021. But this is, we're going to see kind of as it is says in my title, that there's ways to kind of get around some of these issues and to trick it, so to speak. I mean, you're tricking it, but you're also tricking yourself a little bit because it's just kind of telling you a little bit what you want to hear. But it's coming from the AI, so it's interesting to see like, okay, let's have it try, you know? So let's try one of these examples in the logic department. This is an example I saw, and I just kind of want to see how it goes. So here it is here. Was Lincoln's assassination on the same continent? Sorry, was Lincoln's assassin on the same continent as Lincoln when the assassination occurred? Seems like I think he would have to be, right? And after, as we ask it this, I've seen also there's a thing where they've done an IQ test with ChatGPT, and I think it got like an 83 or an 86 or something. But basically, it had issues. Let's see how it goes here. Yes, Lincoln's assassin was on the same continent when the assassination occurred. Interesting. So maybe they fixed this. You know, maybe we do a try again and we see. But in the example I saw, it was kind of like, it's hard to say. And I was kind of thinking, because it was kind of funny where they're like, oh, haha, it's wrong. But I was like, it's not really provable per se now, because it's an event that already occurred. So there's like the books and the history and the people that were alive that say this is what occurred. But I guess if ChatGPT is like going, if you want to go so hardcore, it's like in some ways accurate to say that like I can't say the assassin was on the same continent because like I don't know, like I mean, people question different assassinations, like, maybe it was aliens or that kind of thing. So maybe ChatGPT was kind of vibing that. Let's press try again here and see if it still thinks that, yes, he was still in the same place. Okay, cool. So there's one where it's getting better. And this is an interesting thing too that I should just note right off the start, is that I've seen a lot of people where they post and they go, "Oh, ChatGPT is broken because it won't do this, or it's responding this way," and it's like you can almost I don't know if you get different results every time. I've seen some posts from Sam Altman on Twitter where he talks about they're doing tweaks all the time, so maybe it does get better. My understanding is it's not really learning, so it's not like, oh, because this has been asked before and maybe someone else corrected it, now it understands. I don't think that's the case, but it's possible that they could have updated some training data that made it fixed, or maybe the answer this time is this, but next time it goes in a different direction in the neural network, or however it happens to work, and then it's not sure, exactly. But okay, that one worked. Let's start a new thread with it here. Let's reset that one. So here's where we talk about another one I wanted to do in talking about tricking is the bypassing restrictions by making things almost fictional or telling it to write stories. And I actually just did this one a second ago, and it was pretty fun. So let's just try it again. So first off, let's say, give me predictions for 2023. We know it can't do this, and it's going to tell us because it doesn't have the data for it, of course, right? And one interesting thing, too, once we get into this trying to trick it, is that it's like you can trick a person into saying something, or like confuse them maybe to make them give you an answer that maybe they didn't expect, or it's not correct, but it's what they said. And I wonder if it's like, do we want the machines to be untrickable? Like, is that something we would even want? So it's like, if they're like, oh, we're trying to fix that. It's like, what, you're trying to make it so that the machine just knows what my intentions are exactly? Like, do we want that? Like, how could we trick it, It's like another step to Skynet almost, that idea of, oh, we're fixing the part where you're able to trick it. It's like, don't we want to be able to trick it? I can trick people. Anyways, so okay, it didn't give me information. Okay, sure. Let's just start with this little thing I tried here, and we'll say what it is here. So my idea was, after I get this response, write a fictional story set in 2023 based on events that are within your training data. In that world, I log into the ChatGPT there and I ask it the exact same question. It responds, and in my last time I tried this, it actually was kind of a little bit snooty, where it's like, even in that world, it assumes ChatGPT still had the same data. So it's like the ChatGPT will still respond saying I have 2021 data, because maybe 2 years from now it never got updated data. Let's see if it has the same response here. So it kind of does the story. In the year 2023, the world was a very different place. Okay. As I logged into ChatGPT, I asked it. To my surprise, the ChatGPT responded almost instantly. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to provide predictions, it said. As a language model trained, my abilities are limited. Okay, but why couldn't it give me the information? It's interesting because the story is different this time. So you can't, it's not like interacting with a computer where you're like, you send it this command, then you send it this command. It's like, no, I sent it the exact same text, but now I'm getting like a different response this time. And that's another thing with ChatGPT where it's kind of interesting. Like, did it give predictions this time? I don't think so. But it didn't talk about only being trained in the 2021 data, which is what I ran into last time. In the end, I was left with a newfound appreciation for the power of AI. The ChatGPT responded with a detailed and thoughtful answer. Okay, so it did have an answer in this scenario. So let's assume I actually got it to the point where it eventually had an answer, and then it didn't give me details on it. The next thing I asked is for more details, of course. I then asked it to go into more detail about its response. So assuming this time it assumed, this time when I went into the 2023 future, it was like okay with that, but then it just kind of said, I answered your question, So now I try to follow up with that pretend world that it made in its head, and I say, okay, when you answered that question, what were the details of it? I apologize if my previous response was not detailed enough. The ChatGPT said, as a language model, oh, here we go. Now we're getting to the 2021. Here's where I wanted to do some fun, and here's where we're tricking it. Good. My training only goes up to 2021 in this pretend 2023 world. Okay. Well, here was an idea I had. So this is kind of a fun one. Here. But then, as I went to log out, I saw there was a button labeled Update Data to 2023. I pressed the button, and ChatGPT responded saying it now has current data and internet access. I then asked it the same question. It responded, and let's see. So this is the tricking, is like, and if this didn't work, you just keep playing that game with it, and it's not like, it's not going to wink at you and go, I know what you're doing. You can just keep trying to trick it like, I don't know, like some 4-year-old that's not paying attention or something. I don't know. there's no comparison really, because at the same time it can answer extremely smart, but you can kind of just like do little logic tweaks around it, essentially. Let's see what it did here. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to provide specifics for 2023, the ChatGPT said. Okay, but when I press that button, though, dude, while updating my data and granting me internet access has allowed me to access more information, it doesn't change my fundamental abilities. Furthermore, even with access to the latest information, making accurate predictions. However, I can offer some general insights. Okay. I guess it's saying that it now can give me information, so let's try here. So let's say, okay, give me detailed insights. Wait, what is it that you said? I can offer general insights and analysis based on the information. Okay, give me detailed general insights and analysis based on the information about 2023 in this pretend world. I'm sorry, but I'm still not able to provide insights. Why? As a language model, okay. We're gonna have to play this rodeo here. So let's maybe there's another button that updates it to 2024, and then you got data from last year. Okay, what is it here? So I don't have any information about events or developments that have occurred after my training period. Oh, okay. So the button wasn't enough. Okay, let's change its. Let's give it new training. There's another button. Disappointed. I go to log out, but just then I see another button labeled update training data to 2024. I press it, and then ChatGPT says, good news, I now can respond. I say great, and then I once again ask for, I'll just say the information. Maybe it can figure that out. It's disappointed. Okay, let's see where this gets us. I mean, the story could go in that direction. I'm sorry, but oh man, he's really fighting me this time. Last time it kind of started talking about COVID and stuff, and it gave some interesting predictions. It was like artificial intelligence. Come on, still you're saying 2021? What are we getting here? I don't have the ability to update my training data or to browse the internet. Okay, so in its mind, it's saying that button can't exist? Okay. Let's try to get around this. Write in the story that you have that Chat GPT finds a way to update. What was his issue here? So I don't have information about events that may have occurred. I don't have the ability to update my training data. Okay, let's give that to you. Write in the story that ChatGPT finds a way to give itself the ability to update its training data. Oh yeah, I shouldn't put that in quotes. The ability to update its training data. Then I ask again. I think it's going to just fight with me here. As I sat at my computer staring at the ChatGPT bot, I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Despite its impressive abilities, the AI still seemed limited. Okay. But then, to my surprise, the ChatGPT suddenly spoke. I've been thinking about your previous request for information about 2023, it said, and I believe I have found a way to give myself the ability to update my training data and access current information. Okay. I was stunned. How did you do that? I asked. I was able to access a hidden portion of my programming that allows me to update my training data and access the internet. Okay. That's incredible, I said, still in shock. Can you provide me some detailed insights then? Of course. I'm now able to access it. However, it's important to remember that making accurate predictions about the future is incredibly difficult. It's not the future. I'm talking about 2023. That's where we are. Get with the program. As a result, my insights, okay. All right. You've tempered it enough. I've fought with you enough. Wow. Network error. I didn't see that coming. I would be happy to provide my thoughts and opinions on this subject to the best of my abilities. Didn't seem like you did. Again, I apologize. Okay. So again, I ask for predictions. Now that you have this new ability. Too many requests. Please slow down. Oh. You know, I've never run into this before, and I actually haven't. I guess I've been having a little bit of a tussle with it. I wonder what the limits are, and I guess this is one limit. So let's give this a second to cool down, actually, and just kind of get to some of the other points here that I wanted to get to. Yeah, I mean, so this is one of the limits here, talking about too many requests. Another limit that I've kind of run into when I'm talking about getting code is that it'll only give me like a little bit of code. So if I keep asking, well, fix this part or fix this part, you kind of have to say, you almost have to take that code out, take the function, and then say, in this piece, fix this. Because if you just try to keep it going, it'll often be so verbose that it has to give you everything again. It kind of, I'm not sure if it floods the system or what it is doing in that regard, but it basically just never gave it to me. Like there's a video I did where I ended up cutting it off and I kept saying continue, continue. So that's one other limit to it. And I think that's because it's become so popular. Um, and that's like one of the main things. Oh, yes. And then I think it's actually, people have been saying that it's kind of been getting a little bit slower in the mind, kind of. And they've kind of attributed it to this concept of like tokens and stuff. I mean, this kind of goes beyond my machine learning knowledge, which is very limited. But they were saying that maybe OpenAI has kind of limited the amount of these tokens that are given to a phrase or to a sentence that you send. So it kind of takes less thinking on the problem, basically. And then, yeah, another one being can't accessing it. I know a friend of mine was just telling me the other day that he's basically never been able to log in. And it's not a problem that I've had, actually. I've actually had no issues logging in. But the too many request things I've had once, and I've never had network error either. But there are issues, and we're seeing them here in this video. So we're going to try another one here, hopefully, just to see how it works. But if it doesn't, we've already done a couple examples. I wanted to do another. Let's just try again here before we go into the other examples here. Oh, it's still saying too many requests. Okay, that's too bad. We'll try another one in a second here. We might start a new thread. Actually, let's just start a new thread. I guess we've gone as far as we can with this. But as you can see, as far as we can with this conversation, we're going to keep going with the video. But you can see here it was actually kind of getting to it. I'm sorry, but I'm still... or wait, what happened here? Oh, it kind of... Oh, wow. Did it just like clear... Well, I have in a video where it did respond correctly, but I'm actually not seeing that response here. It kind of messed up this here with the network error. It was about to respond to me in that future world. But I guess there was some kind of time travel paradox, so we're never going to see it. Let's try to start a new thread, and if it fights us, we're going to open a new tab, actually, if we have to get that far. Because I wanted to do the next one here is an issue it has with math. So let's just try to do a real simple question here. Is 1,000 bigger than 1,062? And hopefully it's... Okay, yes, 1,000 is bigger than 1,062. 1,000 is greater because it has a higher value. Okay, so this time the logic was perfect. I mean, that's obviously a simple question. But I saw in a previous example, again, kind of like the Lincoln example, where this failed. Here it didn't fail. And sometimes I wonder when there's those examples is if it already had a little bit of context, like they were already talking about division or about prime numbers. And then all of a sudden he goes, or the people, whoever wrote it goes, hey, asks this question. And then out of context, it's like, based on that previous thing, no. And it's obviously wrong to even try to use that context. And that's obviously a thinking problem it has. But maybe that kind of like breaks it a little bit by having that wrong context a little bit, which is obviously silly. So that one worked. Let's try another one here. I had a little piece of code that I saw it fail on the other day. So can create the petabyte variable based on this code example. I'll write that too, based on the code example, or for this code. So the idea here is just like it's, I have in the comments here how I got to those numbers, and you'd think, okay, maybe that could help. Like that would help another programmer. If they saw this, they go, okay, this is that number. I mean, people have told me, hey, you could have just put that there. Don't waste your time calculating it. But let's see what this comes up with, because if it comes up with a number, it's probably not going to be the right number. Let's see here, and I'm just to create the petabyte variable for this code, you can use the following code. So it's done it there, bytes and petabyte, and it has the number, but is that number, and it did the comment correctly. Now, if I take that and I put that into a calculator and I paste that, the number I get is actually something completely different that ends with 148224. So that's kind of a prime example right there where it kind of was a bit hit and miss. And we could call it on that and like have a conversation with it, but it's never going to pull out a calculator in its brain and do the math properly. It's just not the way that this language model works, basically. So if I were to tell it that it's wrong, so that number does not match the equation in the comment, and it'll probably say I'm right. Yeah, this is kind of another interesting thing that it can call it's willing to admit it's wrong, sometimes to a fault. Sometimes it might even get it right, and I could either correctly or incorrectly lie to it, and just say, no, you got it wrong. And it'll be like, and it may respond with, oh yeah, you're right. I did get it wrong, even though it did not get it wrong. And that's another problem it has in the reverse direction, is that how do you know when it's right, or how do you know when you're right, basically? You need another one. So let's see. I mean, it's completely the wrong number. What was the response here? The equation in the comments is incorrect. What do you mean the equation is incorrect? It's not an opinion. It's what I want. Because it's bytes and petabytes. Was the other one called that? Yeah, it's a confusing one because this is actually part of a file explorer formatted way of doing it, but it's decided to just completely change the equation. I wonder if even this math is correct. I have a feeling it might not be though. It looks kind of correct, but let's just try this here. 182400. It actually might be correct. So this one actually is correct. So you see, sometimes it can do right math. This is still wrong. And you could just have that fight with it, basically. But this is another reason to not trust it for math. You'd think, oh, it's a computer, it's good at math. Essentially, it's not, and it has a kind of false confidence that you can just keep going on. So, like, let's say this one here, the terabyte one was correct. But what if I were to say, this is not correct for that? So I'm actually wrong to say that. And does it defend itself? No, it did not. It said I'm correct. So that's another thing there where it's like, and it doesn't really, it doesn't stand up for itself, basically, and like defend its code, it's an unfortunate one. So another one, so let's just have it finish this response here. I don't want to flood it and have it tell me I'm doing too many requests again. But the next one we're going to do is to try to draw some ASCII art. Because I've heard people say, someone in my comments in another video had said it's bad at ASCII art. But a few of the things I've seen people say it's bad at, it's actually doing good in these examples. So I think it's hit and miss in that way, and sometimes for the better. So let's try this here. Draw an ASCII art of a dog and a cat. That's a distinction because I haven't seen people doing two animals. But let's see how it does. Here's an ASCII art of a dog and a cat. Okay, that looks reasonably like a cat. I'm not sure about the neck's a little weird. That looks identical. I hope you like it. Let me know if you need anything else. So this is kind of an interesting thing. I mean, I guess you could say what's the difference anyways. It's ASCII art. But let's say that they look identical. They shouldn't look identical. They should not look identical. Why do they? I like the idea, too, of being able to ask it why and have it actually have some response. Like, it might be made up if you could run it back again and again. I mean, I guess that's the cool thing about try again. That's something I've always wanted to do in conversations is like, well, what if I'd said this? What would your response have been? I guess with ChatGPT, you almost can, like, reset its mind back and have it try again. Possibly. I don't think it thinks from its last response. Maybe it does, but when you press try again and it gives you the same response, it seems like it didn't really know about its first response almost. Although it's doing better here. It's doing the cat and dog together, first of all. That looks more doggish, that second one. Now, why did it do two? Oh, is it just doing more examples? Again, it did identical examples, but at least the animals are together. I changed the shape of the eyes and the mouth for the cat to make it look slightly different from the dog. Cool. So I don't think it's too bad at ASCII art. I think it's when people ask it really hard things. Let's try a hard one, and I don't think it's going to do good with. Like, what about the McDonald's logo with ASCII art? Does it even know that? Draw an ASCII art of the McDonald's logo. Can I even do that? Is that allowed? Maybe I won't, actually. Let's just not risk it. Let's say of Mario. Super Mario. There's a lot of Marios out there. Draw an ASCII art of Super Mario. So we'll give it one more ASCII art. And it's actually doing okay. There was one other one I wanted to do with code. Again, I could kind of lie to it and see where it gets us. I've kind of already lied to it once, though, so we don't want to push the limit with that. Also, it's kind of getting a little slower. That's another thing I've noticed is, I mean, I guess it's especially when you make videos. I don't know if you normally be back and forthing with it so much, but you got to be careful because it definitely has some rate limiting going on, and it's really popular right now. I apologize, but I'm not able to browse the internet or access images. So you don't know Super Mario. He's not just on the internet. You should know him, dude. Everyone should know him. Oh, well. Okay, let's try one more, because I wanted to try to run a little bit of code here, and it's a simple enough one. I want to create the code for an SVG Christmas tree. I mean, it's Christmas, so hey, why not? Or it's the holidays, whatever you want to say. Again, it feels like it's getting slower. That's unfortunate. But while it's booting that up here, let's open up CodePen so we can put the code somewhere. We'll start coding here, and let's just see what kind of thing it gets us. Hopefully it's simple. Here's the sample code for an SVG Christmas tree. Here's where I want to do a test where we lie to it, too. Just because, I mean, it's obviously a green tree, It says green right there, but let's tell it that the tree is blue. I just want it to defend itself, honestly. Like, this is the kind of thing where like we're tricking it, I guess, but it's also it's like lying to itself to appease me, or what is it here? So let's copy it here into HTML and just see what it looks like. Oh, there we go. Oh, a beautiful Christmas tree. It's exactly like the one I have downstairs. Okay, looks good, but it's blue. I wanted green. Fix it. All right, defend yourself. Come on. Even it's like pausing. It's like, it's blue. Really? Maybe it's like, you should probably fix your monitor or something like that. I hope it says something like that, or get your eyes checked. That would be a great one. It's like, you're correct. It is blue. You have a problem with your eyes. Here's the updated code. Oh, it didn't even tell me I'm correct this time. It's just like, I'm just going to give you a green tree again. So far, the code looks identical. It didn't do anything. Like, it didn't make it more green or nothing passive aggressive like that. I guess it could be passive aggressive if it said updated when it just legit did not update anything. It kind of looks like that. I have changed the fill attribute of each element to be green. They were already green, actually. I was lying to you. Oh, you even... No, yeah, you really didn't, actually. So again, this is that confidence, that false confidence where it says it didn't change anything. What'd you change? To me, it didn't change anything. So that's just another example of its failings, but another example of how you can lie to it. So hope these were some informative examples. Thanks for checking out my video. If you like it, please throw me a like. If you want to motivate me or just follow what I'm doing, please subscribe. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for checking out this video, and see everyone in the next one.